All right, guys, Google just announced their new AI chip arrival to NVIDIA's, but just to be clear, they will still be using NVIDIA's chips, okay? The Blackwell chip, for example, for their hypercomputer, and their other chips are being used still. So even though they're gonna have their own AI chip, they'll still use NVIDIA. So I don't think this is a total blow, obviously, to NVIDIA, okay? Now, it's a reason probably why the stock's selling off a little bit today. People profit taking, that's fine, okay? But also Google has a new ARM-based chip coming out as well that's going to be more energy efficient and just improve what they have now, the general purpose ARM. So ARM, this company, they have the design that these companies can build upon, with these chips, okay? And they get licensing revenue or licensing fees, which those fees keep going up. And that's why I believe with how many of these chips, are needed, or how much, the amount of chips I'm trying to say that are needed, with each chip that's built is crazy. And ARM, that's why that they're going to be a beneficiary of that, because the licensing fees have gone up from about 3%, now they're like 5%, and that's huge amount of revenue coming in, okay? Even though this has a high valuation, I still believe ARM is going to be a long-term winner. We know SoftBank owns 90% of shares, so we know the stock price can swing right one way or the other depending on if they decide to sell, right? But like I said, I like this company long still. They're used in everything today, Apple smartphones, all this technology. So many companies are working with them, all the big dogs. So ARM is another one. I still think, even though I'm going to keep a smaller position, again, because of how overvalued, how the valuation, and with SoftBank owning 90% of shares and having exposure to China, I'm going to keep that position small. I'd rather have a heavier position in NVIDIA, and even a little bit, not as much as NVIDIA with SMCI, but I like that company as well now that it's on the dip. But anyways, Google is a great play, guys, just because the stock is cheap historically, right? Their price earnings ratio, and they are a front runner with AI, okay? Even though they're a little bit behind, right, with the Chat GPT, they're going to be just fine. They get a lot of hate, okay? But Google's a great play. You can feel confident putting a good amount of money in that long term, because like I said, it's still undervalued, on a PE ratio, and they have tons of cash. They're the number one, guys. They're just gushing cash, and they're trying to use that money, right, probably to make acquisitions. That's a good problem to have, obviously. They'll probably buy back more shares, okay? So Google's a great buy and hold long. Now, keep in mind, Microsoft and Amazon, for example, they also have their own ARM-based chips already, and chips that are used in CPUs, okay? And they're going to be building their own as well, which is going to rival NVIDIA also. But they also still work, right, with NVIDIA. Meta, Microsoft, and Google are the top 3 customers of NVIDIA. And even though these guys are building their own chips, they're still going to use NVIDIA, okay? Obviously, it's probably going to go down how much they use them in the long run, okay? But I believe when the Omniverse gets big, that's the automotive segment, right, that NVIDIA has, that hasn't even started really growing because the auto sector's been in a slump, but I expect that to pick up. That'll be a catalyst. Obviously, interest rate cuts, right? NVIDIA works with everybody out there, and that's why I believe any dip, it's only a matter of time before it gets bought out again. And I think the stock will eventually split one day, which is going to bring more investors in. So it's okay if they give a little bit of their market share, right? NVIDIA has 90% market share. They're going to give some of that away, which may cause a dip, right, in the short run with how much it's run up. But it's still one of the best companies in the world, guys. And I believe it will have the highest market cap, even over Microsoft one day, okay? It'll probably take some time, but I believe Microsoft and NVIDIA will lead the way, and overtake Apple, that's for sure, one day, okay, because of the growth that they have compared to Apple, okay? So anyways, that's my thoughts. So Google, some good news for that stock. Have a good day.